Hi everyone, welcome to a new series where we will be featuring stories from the second annual Story Slam event. This episode is given by Christy Bresnahan.
So, a little backstory about me. On family trips growing up, I always liked taking videos of everything, different beaches we visited, the restaurants we saw, especially videos of scenery in the car or on a plane. I loved capturing the sights, sounds, and smells of new places. I mean, some of the videos did include super cool action shots of me and my cousins doing dance battles in the yard. Nonetheless, I think my memories are my most prized possessions. While studying abroad in Ecuador, naturally I took a lot of videos. I have hours and hours of footage, and hours I still have yet to edit. Sorry to my friends who are here and still can't see them. Whether from the home student versus international student soccer game, which of course we lost, to all the vlog tours I have of the places we stayed on our field trips, like when we went to a cool little treehouse bungalow cabin thing in the mountains, and it was a lot of, hey guys, welcome to my vlog, to make it less awkward for everyone. I think that they all became accustomed to me going like, oh my God, like my audible amazement of all the cool places we were visiting. Then they'd look over, and I'd have my vlog camera perched between us, sweeping the scene, because I was trying to capture everything. I went on the ROC Galapagos program, where we went to Ecuador, the mainland, and the islands. Over half of our time was spent in the Galapagos Islands, so some of the UR faculty, biology professors, came down and taught courses just to us, our little Rochester cohort. We got really close. We were spending time in class, working on assignments, and going on research trips together. On one of our last weekends, we decided to plan a trip to this beautiful white sand beach that we had been told about since we got to the island. It was called Puerto. We arranged to borrow tents from one of the parents. I had to go to the park's office a few times to get our camping permits because multiple people forgot their IDs. And we stopped at several bodegas for snacks and water before we ordered a taxi to the other side of the island. I think I only put down my camera once to hop out of the taxi so that we could tell the driver to please pick us up the next day. There was no service for miles, so this was really it. We were just stuck together for 24 hours on this beach with very little water and very little food. The boardwalk down to the beach was literally so long. I remember wondering if we were even going to make it, and the sun just beating down on us, sweat dripping down our faces, arms were so sore. I think at this point, I stopped videoing because every turn we got on the boardwalk, I thought this would be the entrance to the beach, and it just never was. So I kind of missed that part too. Once we made it, we set up our tents. We made sure the spot on the sand was above the high tide line, which would come up in the middle of the night and completely flood us out. We sunscreened up like always. We had gotten really used to the routine of getting each other's necks and shoulders, even though they were inevitably already toasted or burnt. We soaked in the sight of the cliffs and the thick vegetation, the framing of the ocean around us. Definitely less than enough time later, we were running into the water. I remember the waves being the largest I had ever seen at a swimmable beach on the island, and the color of the water was something I had never seen before. It was bright aquamarine. It was like we were kids again. We body surfed and did flips and stunts forever. And then once we got tired, we laid out on the beach for hours to dry until sunset. I took a lot of videos, obviously, but especially while we climbed the cliff that overlooked the bay. I wish I could show it right now, but it was probably one of my favorite shots because it had the blue waves for miles in front of us. And then I turned and panned the camera, and I remember behind us, it was just the lush green mountains that we could finally see at this elevation that we had crossed through to get to the beach earlier. We got really hungry from beaching all afternoon, so we went back down to the little grills to make dinner, which was tacos. Our plan to use people's old charcoal mostly worked, except for the fact that we had to add a lot of Caña Marabito, which is this local cheap liquor, to get the fire started. I have videos of the whole process, including a random black cat that would just randomly visit us during the night. And don't worry, it's not an omen for the rest of the night. It was just really cute. After eating, we migrated back to the sand and sat on towels using a makeshift lantern, which was a phone flashlight and an Nalgene bottle, which we had discovered earlier in our travels. We chatted and laughed about God knows what now. We talked for hours about nothing because we knew each other so well, and at this point, the jokes were truly writing themselves. At some point later, someone wanted to go back in the water, and inevitably, everyone else ended up running after each other back into the ocean. After a while of standing in the thigh-deep water, I heard my friend gasp. There was bioluminescence. I couldn't remember who said it first, but I remember looking down and seeing the waves were carrying in these little specks of blue light that would glow up for a split second before disappearing. I think I screamed when I first saw them, but I don't think I was the only one. Then everyone started looking for them. We were all bending down to the surface of the water and try to see these little flashes of light. Bioluminescence only came in at night from the depths of the ocean, only during certain times of the year. I think pretty quickly we all realized how rare and lucky we were to get to see it in real life. We probably spent over an hour chasing after them, trying to catch them in our palms, and then yelling to whoever was closest to us to run and look before it died off. My friends, Aiden and Aditi, were out there the longest, and they really knew how to bask in these experiences. I remember saying how much I wish I could take a video of them, but they told me it was no use. I just have to appreciate seeing them in the moment. We went from looking down at our feet to looking up at the stars, which I had also said before that I wanted to take a video of. There are just so many stars in the night sky. Compared to New York, the lack of light pollution allowed for millions more. I seriously can't even describe it now. In that moment, I realized even more how much I needed to take it all in. I was surrounded by little dots of light on this little beach, on a little island, miles from the coast of the nearest continent on our planet Earth. I reflected on all the incredible things I had gotten to see and do during my time abroad, the people I'd grown so close to, and how crazy it was that I hadn't really known them just 3 months prior. Porticino became probably my most prized memory because we were the only ones that could really experience it, and I felt so lucky to have this special memory with these very special people to me. We eventually got tired and walked back to our tents and passed out for the night. So the next morning, I woke up by the sun, looked out to see the sea lions playing in the water where we stood the night before. I reached in my bag to grab my vlog camera, only to find that the whole thing was covered in sand. Whether it was chasing after the hermit crabs or the impromptu handstand contest, all the activity from the night before kicked up sand everywhere. I opened the viewfinder, and the lens just didn't focus. I tried so hard, like frantically, picking out as much sand as possible, blowing in every single crack, crevice of my camera, using sticks on the beach, but it barely helped. For the last couple weeks abroad, I had to record from the perfect angles and distances to get a good video, and I was lucky if I even got 1 second of clear footage. And still to this day, my vlog camera doesn't focus. It sounds metaphorical now, but this really forced me to take in as much as I could, the sights, sounds, and smells that I loved. So, although I am grateful that I can relive and share my memories through the lens of my camera and all my YouTube vlogs, there's something special about keeping this memory all to myself.
Hi, listeners. We'd like to remind you that the opinions expressed by our guests on this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Center for Education Abroad or the University of Rochester. Our podcast aims to foster dialogue, critical thinking, and exploration of various topics related to education abroad. We encourage listeners to consider multiple viewpoints, engage in respectful discourse, and form their own opinions. Thank you for tuning in and being part of our community.